Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. My name is Yoshiko Masumura, and I live in Kentucky, USA. I hope to reach many of you today and talk to you about Tenrikyo, which most of you have not heard of before. Tenrikyo started on October 26, 1838, by our foundress, Miki Nakayama, who we believe is the mother of all human beings, because she has the soul of the original mother at the time of the creation by God. We call God God the Parent because He created us. Under God, we're all brothers and sisters. This is a simple teaching. Also, a unique teaching about Tenrikyo is a thing lent, a thing borrowed. The bodies that we use every day to work and to do many things is lent by God. God created our bodies to lend to us here on earth so He can watch us live the joyous life and share in that joy. So that's the purpose of God lending us these bodies. We borrow the bodies from God. Therefore, our bodies are a thing lent, a thing borrowed. That is one of the fundamental teachings of Tenrikyo. We have daily service, evening service, and morning service, as well as what's called a Holy Grant, which is a spiritual prayer called a Holy Grant, which is granted by the main pillar, who is like the Pope of our religion. And the Holy Grant, after we receive it, we can go to somebody who is ailing and pray for their healing. I've seen, healings after I did Sazuke Holy Grant on a couple people. One guy who had glasses on, dark glasses on inside the building. I asked why he's wearing sunglasses. So he said, well, because one of his eyes won't open. So he looked like he was winking all the time, I guess. But anyway, so I prayed for him using the Sazuke. And the next time I saw him, he said that he could open it now. And when I performed the Sazuke on him, the Holy Grant, he said that he felt a warmth from my hands. So anyway, he was happy that it was cured. Another healing that I've seen through the use of the Sazuke is, I used to live in an RV park back in Maryland before I moved to Kentucky. And there was this elderly man who was in his 80s. He used to be a fireman, retired now, and I'm not sure if he's still alive, but anyhow, he had a surgery on his hand. And as a result of his surgery, he had this elongated callus across his hand. So he couldn't bend his palm or grasp anything because it wouldn't bend. So several times I did the Sazuke on him every time I saw him. And then sometime later on, he said that he was able to move it. So that was another healing that I saw. And there were others healings that I don't remember. But anyway, we have the Holy Grant, which is a sasuke that is unique to Tenrikyo. We danced 12 chapters during the monthly service at church. Well, right now, because of the pandemic, churches are closed, but hope they open soon. And another unique teaching of Tenrikyo is that we show our gratitude for born these bodies by doing something that benefits others. It's called hinokishin, which means daily act of gratitude. Parenthesis, for born our healthy bodies, close parenthesis. We have what's called the 9 instruments, which related to the body is the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, right hand and arm, left hand and arm, and right leg limb and left leg limb, and our number 1 instrument for reproduction. So with these 9 instruments that we borrow from God, we are able to work and to do many things. There is also a teaching of 10 providences of God. Water, moisture in the eyes, water in our bodies all the time. There's warmth from the sun and warmth in our bodies. If we get a cut, joining of the skin, that's natural. And joining in general, like employer hires an employee, a couple being joined, that's another providence of God. Also, skeletal support in our bodies. Our bodies are supported by the skeleton. Without the support, we would collapse like a skeleton. But because of the support, we're able to stand up, sit up, and so on. In the outside world, the tree stands upright. If it weren't for the support, the trees would collapse and fall on its side. Next, there is ingestion, digestion, and excretion. This is another providence of God. So, in the outside world, it is the condensation, evaporation, and what's the other one? The natural cycle of water. Oh, evaporation. So that's a providence of God. Next, the providence of the wind. We have wind in the outside world, the workings of the wind. Inside our bodies, it's the breathing mechanism. We're able to breathe air in and out. There's also the providence of cutting. At the time of childbirth, the umbilical cord is cut. This cutting is the providence of God, and that baby is able to live on its own. And at time of rebirth, we believe in reincarnation, by the way. At the time of rebirth, the cutting of breath, that is a providence of God. Only God can cut the breath of life. There's a number one instrument in... Oh, excuse me. There's also another providence. Pooling. The providence of pooling. There is, in the outside world, there's pooling of plants. When the seeds are planted, then the seedling grows. And there's pooling mechanism by God, the natural pooling of plants to grow upward. And at time of childbirth, the baby is pulled out by God's working. Mother's pushing may help, but it's actually the work of God pulling the baby out slowly. That's God's working. And there is a number one instrument in men and women, which are used for reproduction. Okay, I hope that's 10. Anyway, I have senior moments, so please excuse me. I don't want to talk too much today, so that is the basic teachings of Tenrikyo I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have a wonderfully happy day. See you next time.